Western Oregon sports fans, and welcome to this latest edition of Student Athlete Spotlight. Joining me today, we have Caleb Singleton. Caleb, how are you doing today?
Good, I'm doing good.
Fantastic. Well, I know you've had a very busy off-season, basically. Probably not, can't even call it an off-season for you anymore.
Yeah.
Been doing a lot of stuff, but what we really want to do is just kind of learn a little bit more about you. We've heard so much about you in between the lines and accolades and everything else over the last 4 years, but I just want to know a little bit more about where you came from. So can you give us just a little bit of journey of where you started at and how you ended up here at Western?
Yeah, well, I was born in Phoenix, Arizona, and from there I moved to Texas, where my dad is originally from, and then moved from Texas to Kaiser in Oregon, and then moved to Salem, and I was about 10 years old by then, and that's when I met best friend Brian Huber, and been friends ever since, and as we know, he played corner here. We played together. We've been a package deal ever since. So.
And you guys were over there at West Salem together, correct?
Yeah, yes.
And what other sports did you happen to play over there?
Played basketball. I did track a couple years. So yeah.
And I heard you guys actually, West Salem, at least during your tenure there, I get you guys had some pretty good success in some of those other sports, and maybe not just football with you, but you guys, I heard you guys had a couple other ones that were out there.
Yeah, well, I really think it started when we were grade school kids and playing for my dad, and we had the same group growing up as we did in middle school all the way to high school, and that's what led us to going to the state tournament our senior year. So it we really got the competitiveness and what we needed mentally to be good athletes and good people.
And you talked about you ran a little bit of, you did some other sports too, ran some track and other things like that, correct?
Yeah, I was mainly a jumper. I did high jump, triple jump, and long jump. So. You
ever make state in any of those ones, some districts and stuff?
No, I didn't. I didn't take it as serious as I probably should have, but.
Just something to fill the time during the other two sports then, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
So after that, you talked about it. I mean, you've mentioned Brian Huber, but you two come here to Western Oregon together at the same time, graduate high school together and stuff. And I know you go in, that first year you're a red shirt there. Brian gets some time on the field. Talk to me a little bit about that and, maybe what they were trying to prepare you for by putting you in that red shirt year, and then at the same time, seeing your best friend making the tackles out there and you're on the wings.
The transition is hard going from senior year to, college freshman year. And you don't play any games. It's a different structure. You got to work hard in the weight room and work your way up, just like you're a freshman from high school. You got to work your way up from freshman in college and try to get playing time. Brian, I kind of envy him. I wanted to play as a freshman, but I think it helped me more as physically and mentally to really be ready to play college football. And that's, like I said, it's a tough transition, and I feel like I made it pretty well. When
you talk about making that transition, did it even take you a while into your freshman year, even though you were able to do the red shirt thing and get to see the speed of maybe Mark Thorson throwing the ball, practicing against them? But that freshman year, was it still pretty fast once you got into competition?
I'll tell you a story. The first time I saw Kevin Boss, I was like, so he plays offensive lineman, right? And a fellow safety was like, oh, no, he's a tight end. It's like, oh, so I'm supposed to guard him? Like, I'm 175 coming out of high school, and I'm supposed to guard him in practice? And, a scout team, I ended up matching up against him, and obviously he, did his work on me, but made me better. And, as a freshman, when you're a redshirt, you're taught to work hard, and you're taught to really, make the transition right. And I felt like it was hard at first just because it's new. You have to learn a new system. It took me probably 2 years. It probably takes the safety because you have to know everything on the defense because you're the field general. But Charlie took me 2 years, 2 solid years to learn the whole system. And as an athlete, I feel like I was ahead of the curve just because of my athletic ability, but I needed to get there mentally. So it took me a couple years, but I feel like I've made a really good transition and hoping to play on.
And obviously you had a very successful career, but you talked about playing basketball, track and field, and all these stuff. What kind of led you to doing football? What was the decision maker out of that one that you decided to come to Western Oregon to do that?
That wasn't even my first initial take on sports at all. I was gonna play basketball in college. I was gonna live the dream that my dad led on, and he played at ASU and played with the Phoenix Suns, and I always thought of myself being a basketball player. And my senior year, the group of guys that we played with and what we accomplished, we were the first team to first team in West Salem history to go to the playoffs. And that was just, it just meant so much to me as a football player and as a, you know, as in sports, it just meant a lot to me. And football just grew on me. And, you know, I was really successful as a senior and had the opportunity. Western Oregon contacted me and asked me to play football. If you want to play football, I was like, of course I do. You know, so.
And I've heard a rumor out there that they couldn't just recruit you; they had to go for Brian too.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a package.
We were a package deal, definitely. It was something that we always joked about and didn't really think it was gonna, you know, pan out. It was more of a joke, but it panned out. And look at us now. You know, we had a great careers, and it was a lot of fun while it lasted.
What are some of your favorite aspects of football then? What do you, I don't want to say miss the most, but what are some of the favorite things you have about the sport?
The competitive drive of the sport in itself, the team unity that you have to have, the chemistry. It's not a track and field. It's not even a basketball, because you have 11 guys that you have to trust to do their own jobs, and there's nothing like having that kind of chemistry. And with the players and, you know, my career here, I feel like, you know, there's nothing better. That was the thing that was always on target. I could speak for the defense and say that we had the best chemistry on and off the field. We were all friends. We all hung out. We all ran to the football, 11 guys tackling. It was just a lot of fun.
What do you say is the biggest area that maybe you could improve on, I guess, on that one? Not on that area, you know, maybe not so much between the lines, but I wasn't trying to go that one, but maybe just the team chemistry. You talked about being the leader. You got to understand more, and or maybe even on the field too.
Yeah. Well, you know, improving on like team chemistry is hard just to begin with, because you gotta know everyone and their personalities, and sometimes individuality can happen on a team. You don't want that. So as a team leader, you have to be, you know, vocal. You have to be heard. Everyone has to hear you, and that's just not your voice. Everyone just has to respect who you are, and as a player, they have to know that you're gonna be there 100% every single time on the field. If we're down 21, I'm still gonna put out 120% and still give it my all, and tell them that we still have a shot. That's who we need to be. And
did you really embrace the role as both a vocal leader and a, you know, by example this year?
Yeah, I did. I felt like I, you know, stepped up as the leader of the pack. We had other seniors and underclassmen who stepped up as well, and that's what it's going to take. It doesn't take one leader on a team. It takes a group of leaders to combine and build your team and make them known. So that's how I feel about that.
And although you don't always get it, I mean, it's a big team thing. Caleb Singleton did help lead this defense this year to being number 13, I think, in the country it was total on total yards allowed. You guys were right up in the top 30 in scoring a variety of categories. You yourself got a couple more, and I know you would never be one to talk about it, but Caleb here was able to bring in the postseason honors. He has given Western Oregon a great opportunity to get some exposure as well as himself. He was earned 2 All-Region honors, 2 different All-American honors, and you've played already in 1 All-Star football game, and another one is right there on the horizon. I'd like to talk to you first about the game you played back in January a little bit ago, called the Cactus Bowl. It's down there in Texas. You have the top D2 players from around the country come together to play in this game. Great to play, but also a chance to be seen by some scouts at other levels. Just talk to me a little bit about your experience down there.
You know, that I'm really thankful for the experience that I had down there, and there was a lot of good guys, a lot of players, just in the same, you know, boat as me, with the opportunity to maybe play on, but being a D2 player, you know, I could tell you this: we all have chips on our shoulders, because not being a D1 program guy, you're always going to get that, oh, he's this, he's that, he's lacking this and that. But I could tell you, I have more heart or desire to play in the NFL than anyone else. So just as long as I get that shot, and I'm, you know, I'm getting my opportunity now, and I'm going to rise to the occasion.
And speaking of that, Caleb did have an opportunity. You won't say it. I know you won't. You had you led the team high, had a tie for the team high in tackles with 5 over there, and on the winning team nonetheless. You guys won 28-6, and there's also been a rumor that's come out of that one, probably created by me, unfortunately. They didn't have you line up as safety, not covering the wide receivers, right?
No. I played safety. I didn't play corner, and it's a little mix-up that I was sent there to play corner, and I told the coaches there that, you know, if you want to play me at corner, I can play corner. I'm going to compete wherever you put me on the field. But I ended up, you know, winning the starting spot and got 5 tackles and missed an opportunity to get player of the game defensively. But, you know, can't win them all.
Sometimes you just don't get those breaks. Even if you stand out one, maybe people see it a little different way. So I want to hear a little bit. You've now been here at Western Oregon. This is the start of your 5th year, I believe, after we talk about that redshirt year and stuff. What have you been majoring in here at Western?
I'm majoring in exercise science and a minor in health. And my goals later on in the future are to teach and coach, and maybe even do a training regimen where you know, I could help out kids in the community and really give back, because that's something that I've always wanted to do. Is the impact that a coach or a teacher has on kids is greater than most people know, and that's something that I want to give the kids, because I had that as a kid, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. Speaking
of the kids, I want to hear a little bit about why you might recommend Western Oregon. What advice you give them about possibly coming here to Western Oregon University?
Yeah, you know, first of all, I'd like to say that Western Oregon, student-wise, is a great school, because you get to learn, and you get to be on a one-on-one page with your teachers, and that's something that I always hear about from friends at U of O and OSU, is that, you know, I got 150 kids in my class, I don't even know my teacher's name. Like, I feel like on a personal basis with your teachers is the better thing to have. The campus is really nice, athletics, and there's a lot of other you know, clubs here that are really successful, and it's a fun, good environment. I'd rather be here than OSU or U of O. I'd say that personally. So.
Well, thank you, Caleb. I mean, thanks for joining me on this edition of Student Athlete Spotlight, and thank you all for watching.